Nice to see some familiar faces here. We're just waiting for a few more people. Thank you so much. I see a big Philippine delegation here today. Thank you for joining and welcome. I'm really glad you carved out some time to be here with us today. Just before we begin, a quick housekeeping rule on my end. If you haven't yet, if you can please rename yourself on Zoom with your name and organization to your right, so that it helps us know who's in the room and it makes us easier to connect after the session. Great, thank you. For those I haven't met yet, my name is Rod. I'm joining you from Manila, and I serve as the community choreographer at Pollinate Impact, which means I get to design spaces like this for people, where we bring people into conversation and also for growth. All right, next slide, please. Flavia, can we go to the Pollinate Impact one first? Thank you. For a bit of context, Pollinate Impact, as I see we have non-members here, is a member-led network of incubators and accelerators across the Global South. A big part of what we care about as a network is helping impact incubators like yourself not just survive, but grow stronger, more resilient, and more intentional in the way you support your entrepreneurs and enterprises. So if you'd like to join us, this is a quick QR link, and then you can also use the link that will be shared on the chat in a bit. So you have access to all of these as a member, as well as other exciting discounts and subsidies that we will talk about later on once we talk about our growth guidance program. All right. So one of the things we've been noticing across the network is that a lot of impact incubators are constantly moving. They're running programs, they're supporting founders, managing partnerships, raising funds, holding teams together. And in the middle of all that activity, there's rarely enough time to pause and ask, are we actually focusing on the right things to help our organization grow stronger? Because growth isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about stepping back far enough to see what's working well, where friction keeps showing up, what might be quietly holding the organization back, and where limited time and energy should really be invested. And that's really where the session today comes in. Today's Growth Check Lab, Solving for Growth Hurdles, is designed to create space for that reflection. Not in a vague or abstract way, but through a practical diagnostic grounded in the realities of impact incubation work. So today we'll be introducing and experiencing the Incubator Effectiveness Diagnostic Tool, developed through Pollinate Impact's Growth Guidance Program and shaped by more than 20 years of experience working with social incubators across different stages and contexts. The tool brings together lessons from very real organizational challenges: governance, funding, sustainability, team transitions, impact measurement, and operational growing pains many of us know all too well. And while the tool has been refined using AI-supported analysis for clarity and consistency, it remains deeply grounded in the day-to-day realities of supporting enterprises. And today isn't just about hearing about the tool, you'll actually get to experience it yourselves. You'll have the opportunity to reflect on where your organization feels strong, identify areas that may need strengthening, and surfacing priorities you can bring back to your team for further discussion. And to make it even more tangible, one participant from this list will also be selected for a live growth guidance walkthrough with Paul Basil, one of our growth guidance coaches and our special advisor at Pollinate Impact, so we can collectively see how reflection can translate into practical next steps. So personally, I'm really excited about this session because I think many of us are used to operating in constant motion, that we rarely get the structured opportunity to zoom out, right? So this is a really great opportunity for something like that. And so over the next hour, this is our agenda, just to let all of you know. We'll have a quick check-in. We'll do an introduction for Paul, and then we'll go through a walkthrough of the diagnostic, which then you will take as an exercise. We'll do a little bit of reflection, and then we'll go through the actual spotlight with Paul of growth guidance. So one of you gets to experience this, and then an overview and next steps for the growth guidance program. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so just in case you are all interested as well, we do have some other sessions coming up in the near future. In May, we have 3 one around the effectiveness of incubation programs and what actually constitutes that. So we've done a little bit of a literature review. And so next week, if you are free, please join us for that one. We're also looking into platforms for unlocking affordable and accessible capital for enterprises with Lend for Good and Vola, two different platforms. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can join us on the 20th. And then lastly, on the 26th, we are looking specifically at how to position health enterprises within donor priorities with our partner Assist Asia. So you'll see this in more of our events on the events page at Pollinate Impact, the Pollinate Impact website. So please register if you'd like to know more and if you'd like to be part of the session. Alrighty. I think we are all good. Thank you so much, Kavya. I will pass it on to Tess to take us through. Sorry, I will be doing the check-in. Since we are a small group, we will go into breakout rooms of 3 to 4 people. And for today, what we will do for our check-in is really quite simple. We will just share our name, organization, usual thing. And then the second question is around what's one thing you're hoping to take away from this session today and why? So I've communicated with each of you and I've invited you to come. So I'd like to know what you're hoping to take away based on those invites and what you're expecting through the session. All right, so once we are ready, Kavya will let us into our breakout rooms and we will start. There, welcome back. We'll just wait for the other group to finish. Welcome back, welcome back. There's still about 30 seconds. So, all right, there we go. Great. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing a little bit on the check-in. So maybe I can start for our group, and then if the other group wants to also kind of share a little bit about their expectations. And then if anybody wants to add, please feel free so that at least we have like a good shared understanding of what we're expecting and whether that aligns with today's session as well. So on our group, so I was with Fave, Alwin, and Latihage, and all of them kind of shared that they want to hear more about whether what they're going through are shared challenges from other organizations as well, and whether there's any best case practices that they can hear about during this call. So those are the things that they're expecting, hopefully to learn from each other and also see if they're going through similar challenges together as incubators. Anybody from the other group want to share a little bit about what they talked about and their expectations?
Els, do you want to talk about from our group?
Hello, hi, sir.
Hi, Als.
Hi, Rod. Good afternoon. Basically I just introduced Startup Village to Paul, Alejandro, and Shreya, and as I told them that what I'm expecting is to learn how to create more impact beyond the incubation program, especially after it ends.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. All right. Thanks so much, Alice, for sharing, and thank you everybody for going through the check-in. Just really quickly before we start, I will have Paul introduce himself and take us through the diagnostic tool. Again, what I told my small group in the check-in was this is going to be an intimate discussion with kind of going through some of the challenges for the organizations here. So it will involve some information that may want to stay here, Chatham rules, right? So to make that safe space happen, we want to make sure that whatever is shared here will stay here for the organizations and that they're freely able to share any challenges that they want to bring up later on during the call. So if I can just get a quick thumbs up from everybody just to make sure we're all aligned and we're all set for the next part. Great. Thank you so much, Alice. Thank you, Faith. Great. Awesome. Alrighty. Now that we are all on the same page, I will turn it over to Paul to introduce himself and then to take us through the toolkit. So Paul, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Rod. Like many of you here, 2 decades back, I founded an incubator called Villgro, one of the first ones in India, working with social entrepreneurs and incubating them. But I got into that because I started working with dairy co-ops, fruits and vegetable cooperatives, and I saw the value of market-based models, combining profitability with social impact. That led me to setting up an incubator, which would do exactly that, supporting entrepreneurs who are creating impact while generating profits. And that was India's first social enterprise in impact kind of incubator. I ran it for 2 decades, incubated, accelerated hundreds of enterprises, expanded to Africa. Some of you are from Philippines, so expanded to Philippines and Villgro Africa, and Priya seems to be running it really well now. We started training many incubators across the world. And while we were doing that, realized that trainings alone are not enough. A community is important, a live community that collaborates with each other, shares with each other, contributes to each other was important. And that led to the birth of Pollinate Impact. So very happy to be here and supporting you all. But I also spend time running an impact investment fund. It's a growth stage fund that invests in growth stage enterprises post-incubation. So that keeps me really, really busy. But incubation is close to my heart, and I really love spending time with Pollinate and other incubators all across the world. Thank you, Rod, and back to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul. Alrighty, so the next part of our program is for Paul, if you can take us through the diagnostic toolkit a little bit. How did it come up? Why were these maybe the aspects that we focused on for the toolkit? I will share this one for everybody to see.
Great.
And then yes, there we go. Sorry,
Can-
let me reshare it. Sorry.
No, you're on another document.
Here we go.
Okay. Can you just increase the size, Rod?
Sure, no worries. Mhm. There you go.
Can everyone see it okay? All of you? Okay, great. So, over the last 18 to 24 months, we've been closely working with many incubators. We've been looking at their incubation work, the efficiencies of their work, the effectiveness of their work, and so on and so forth. And then we've been guiding them. Towards the later part of the session, Alejandro will talk about how we've been delivering that guidance. But as part of doing that, we realized that there was no objective, evidence-based way to assess the performance of an incubator. And that's what led to this particular tool that you're seeing here, which I will walk you through in detail. But I thought it's important to give you a little bit of context on why this framework. I'll walk through that in more detail. This tool should be used as an honest reflection tool. It's a decision support tool. It is not to be used for any evaluation, any audit. Don't see it as a monitoring tool. See it as really a reflection tool. There are no right or wrong answers, only useful insights that you get based on the self-assessment that you do. So any incubator in Philippines will have a different context versus an incubator in Malawi. So I think it's not about right or wrong answers or the scores. What really matters is while you take it, are you generating useful insights for yourselves? Its only purpose is to help incubators understand where you are today, where you have challenges in, where you're strong in, and based on both of these, where you should prioritize your time and effort and all your power to really become more successful. This framework, as you see from this document right before you, covers 7 core dimensions. It talks about, are you financially sustainable or moving towards that? It talks about how effective is your fundraising. It talks about, are you really building a good leadership within your organization? It talks about how effective your governance is. Do you have a succession planning in place? And do you have strong impact measurement processes in place? So it covers 7 core dimensions. And each of these 7 dimensions, you will see broken up into 42 sub-dimensions in each of these areas. And I'll walk you through that a little bit more in detail in the next a few minutes. We're really looking at capabilities, not just performance in that sense. So not just looking at what you do, but how effectively your capability translates to outcomes. And this has also been categorized based on maturity levels. Rod, could you just move to one of those tabs there? Could you go to the incubation tab? Yeah. If you see there, there are some maturity levels. For example, in the first one, the incubator has defined the type of startup. So you clearly know what startups to support. Some incubators have really clearly developed it, which is, you know exactly the demographics of the person, you know what type of support to offer them, which means you're 5. And if you have not even thought about it, and if you're very reactive to the startups that you work with, you're really 1. So essentially, each incubator could be at different maturity levels on each of these 7 dimensions and each of these 42 sub-dimensions. That actually gives you a lot of understanding on where to focus on, where to improve, and so on and so forth. So when you're going to take this in the next couple of minutes, please approach it with candor. Please approach it with all humility and honesty. Look at it with from an evidence base. Look at it based on data that you might have. If you don't have data, look at specific anecdotal evidence. Look at it with recent experiences, lived experiences that you have. And when you do it, please also fill some of those information by the side so that you have kind of anecdotal experiences to support why you're rating the way you are. You can also use it subsequent to this session. You can use it with your team, because in many cases, I've seen the CEO as an assessment of the organization, but the team has a very different assessment, which means you can use this to align people and figure out who is misaligned and how do you align perspectives so that you have one perspective on effectiveness of the organization. You can keep doing this once every 6 months to see whether you've matured from level 1 to level 5. And that maturity is what makes your performance go up in terms of how you make your incubatees or entrepreneurs successful. So in short, this framework is to discover your strengths, your blind spots and gaps, area differences and misalignment between some of your team members on how they're thinking about these areas. The value of this framework is not necessarily in the answers, but it's in the insights, the reflection, the conversations that get triggered as you take this particular diagnostic. Now, with that background, let me just quickly run you through. So this is the summary tab. It covers these 7 dimensions. Every dimension is scored out of 30. And these numbers are just, it could be scored out of 100 too, but it's just a scale. But once you score it, you would be categorized under a fragile category or an emerging category, a strong category, or a leading practice. Now that will give you a good understanding of which dimension or sub-dimension is either fragile, emerging, strong, or leading. And that gives you enough direction to say, hey, that's an area that I should be focusing on and really addressing to make your organization far more performing and more efficient and more effective, and therefore more valuable to entrepreneurs that you are supporting. Can you go to the first tab, Rod? I know I've run out of time, but these tabs are very self-explanatory. It has statements. We've designed them as neutral statements. All what you need to do is look at each statement, take the first statement, and then say, where do you think, based on the score in the 1 to 5 categorization, where it is, and do that for all the 42 statements, the sub-dimensions, and your score will be ready. And then it'll be a great conversation to have after that. Back to you, Rod. I'm happy to provide any further clarifications required.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, so if you have any questions, because the next part of this is we will send you the link and then you will make copies of the diagnostic tool, which you will individually fill out for us to have the reflection after. So now is the chance for you to ask Paul, the team also, if you have any questions about answering or about the tool itself. Please feel free to raise your hand or unmute. If we are all clear, can I get a thumbs up? And if we are ready to answer the toolkit, okay, great. Thanks, Alice. Ready. Okay, so if there are no questions, let me just send you the link really quickly.
A thumbs up if everyone is excited about taking the self-diagnostic themselves.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a good sign. So I shared the link. If you can all please make a copy. I want to make sure that you can access the link first. So let me know. And then once you have access, to please make a copy of the sheet so that you can fill it out. So if anybody can just let me know that you can access the link.
Rod, I don't think I can access the link.
Oh, thanks, Faith. Let me.
I requested
quickly.
access.
Thanks,
as well.
Alwyn. Can you please try refreshing? I think I gave access to view.
Working now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Working
Thanks.
now. Thank you.
All right, so that you can get time to also reflect on your own, I will put you in breakout rooms. Alice and Faith, I'll put you in one since you're from one organization, so they can also talk about your diagnostic together. And then if you need any help from us or support, you can raise your hand. We'll see it, and then we can come into your room if you have any questions or clarifications. If that's all good, please give me a raise of thumbs up so that I can put you in your individual breakout rooms. I think everybody's still copying their sheets. I'll wait until you have it so that we can start. All right, great. Fave, thank you. Alwyn and Ladihage, if you can let me know if you are ready. Great, thank you. All right, I'll be opening the rooms. And I set 14 minutes, so about 15 minutes for you to go through this. And then we'll come back and do a quick reflection and then the spotlight with Paul. So already think about it if you'd like to kind of go through the diagnostic. It's a good reflection. And you'll get to experience what we mentioned, the growth guidance program, what it's like in a shorter appetizer kind of version here in the call. So if you'd like to do that, let us know once you come back from the breakout rooms. But anyway, enjoy your time doing the diagnostic tools, and we'll see you in a bit. Alice and Fabe. We'll just wait for the others to come back in. While we do, Alice, is it okay later if you share at least a summary page of your filled out diagnostic when Paul talks to you, just so that there's context?
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Maybe while we wait, you can work on this one. So just a quick reflection for everybody before we do the spotlight with Paul. To answer the question, if there's one insight or realization you're walking away after completing the diagnostic, what is that? So you can type it, don't send it yet. We'll send it all together like a waterfall. So just think about it while we wait. Oh, there we go. Welcome back everybody. So I hope you all had enough time to finish the diagnostic tool. And just before we do the spotlight with Paul, Alice has kindly agreed to do it with us for this call. I'd just like to do a quick check with everybody in terms of their reflections. So the question is, from the diagnostic you just completed, what is one insight or realization you're walking away with about your organization? So please type your answers in the chat. Don't send it yet. I'll give you maybe a minute and a half to think about it and write it on the chat. And then wait for my signal. When I say waterfall, we all share the answers together. So let me just see if I can put up my timer on my screen so that you can see it. I'll give us a minute to think, and then once the minute is up, I will say waterfall and we can all share it. So totally fine for Alice and Faith to have different realizations. That'll be nice to see as well. All right, last 30 seconds. Well, Tag is a little excited, but I thank you so much for sending. I think this is really interesting, a really interesting realization. Thank you so much. Alrighty. Wow. Everybody can send waterfall. Still a work in progress, a lot of things to work on, tiny details that can be very impactful to the overall operations if given value. Thank you so much. So it seems like there's an agreement that there's a lot of points to consider. I think Latihage put it best where there's some wonderful points to consider in terms of improvement for everybody in the organization. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for answering this quick reflection. Thanks, Kavya, for sharing the slides. I will turn it over to Alce and Paul to start us off for this spotlight. So we will give about 15 minutes for them to do the spotlight share of what happens during growth guidance sessions. So again, this is just a taste of what it's like. Usually Paul has at least an hour-long session, just to give everybody quick context. So we'll do like a blitz version just to show everybody what that experience is like, what you can expect if you join the program. And we are going to deal with the diagnostic toolkit here that Alce and Fabe answered together. So over to you, Paul and Alce. I'm going to spotlight both of you so that you can focus on the conversation.
Sure. Alce, are you still not able to switch on your camera? If that is the case, that's fine.
Yes, sir. I don't have my camera.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay, great. So maybe I want to start off, Alce. It looks like you are very strong in all the dimensions. That's at least what I see from this diagnostic. And one area that you're picking up, saying that it is emerging, is succession planning and organizational continuity. Is that a right summary from what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So can we go to the succession planning tab that you have? Okay, great. Now, if you were to think about this, could you talk a little bit about why you've scored the way you have scored? And then we'll get into talking a little bit of what you could do differently to address these challenges. So do you want to take a stab at the first one?
Sure, sir. I've put in 3 as our score in the first one, the leadership transition, because as I've said in the first breakout session that we've had, we are only a lean team. We have only 3 people, and the board members we do not know of, but there are people in it, and Fav and I don't really join the board meetings that they have, so we don't have any idea about um the leadership transition that will be
Okay.
going on, if there's any.
Okay, so it's more about you don't have information. Maybe there is a leadership transition plan that's possible, right? I mean,
Yeah, sir.
okay. Can we go to the second point? If you are a very lean team, why do you believe, why have you rated the way you have? Because you're saying critical roles have identified backups and successors. So if it's extremely lean team, how are you able to do that way?
um It's because I trust that our president has someone who he trusts, and so yeah.
And therefore, the evidence for that is them being involved. So many years back, I had a similar challenge at the incubator that I was running. And one way I solved that problem was building a network of mentors, because as I heard you say, Alice, that you work with many entrepreneurs in your cohorts.
Yes, sir.
And if you are matching them with mentors and advisors, coaches, guides, maybe some of them could be backups and successors in your own organization. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. But how would that be if the mentors that we have are from different organizations, not just Startup Village?
So I am talking about part-time mentors,
Yes, sir.
volunteer mentors who are excited about contributing to startups.
Mm-hmm.
They come in and mentor these enterprises initially. They then get to like what they're doing. And then some of them, or one of them, even if you have, say, 10, 15 mentors, and one of them wishes to transition to your organization, that's amazing. So the limited point that I'm making is, if you probably have a network of mentors, starting to think from that pipeline, potential backups and successors, that might be an interesting way to think about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Thanks for your insights, sir.
yeah. Can you move to third? Can you talk a little bit about how you document it? And you're a small team, so sharing might be faster, easier. But how is it documented? And why do you say it's defined but weekly implemented at score 3?
I guess it's documented in a sense that uh we do have our shared Google Drive, and there are um the documents that of the activities that we have is right there, and we follow certain certain standards. And since we are a lean team, that's the files that we have is obviously shared across the organization.
Sure. So one thought that I have, Google Drives is great, but do you have a information system that allows you to track and plot, map the progress of an entrepreneur through your system? And if you do that for 200 enterprises that you're working with, the institutional knowledge is going to be very high. So there are incubation management platforms that are available, and you can do that on a SaaS model where you pay on a subscription-based model and manage your entire incubation workflow through that. And as you manage that workflow, right from selecting them, as you add value to them, as you exit them, then when they're alumni, managing them is all in one place. And that's a good information system to have as opposed to only Google Drives. Is that making sense?
Yes, sir, it does make sense.
And I'd point you to a platform called Accubate. Accubate.
Incubate.
Is an
Okay.
interesting platform. When I was running Villgro, we had to build one. At that point, there was no such platforms available. So we built one called Vitals, but that's more an internal platform that we built for ourselves. But Accubate, I understand, is being made available to many other incubators, and we had a demo of that in one of our sessions. So, something of that kind, I think, can really move up your score of 3 to 5 and ensure that really all knowledge is trapped right across from an entry of an entrepreneur to an exit. And that when you have the power of AI today, you can then query that system and get you very customized, personalized inputs that actually then further improve institutional knowledge.
Thank you, sir. We'll research about Accubate.
Sure. You have scored very high on donors and partners of relationship beyond any single individual. You're a 3-member team. Could you talk about
yes, sir.
why you think, when you say relationship, could you just qualify this a little bit more and why you've rated yourself very high on that?
Relationship, which one was it, sir?
I'm talking about
This one, donors and partners have relationships.
Yeah.
It's because maybe because of the network that we have, Sir Carlos' network. He has a lot of people that he knows, and also me and Fave have networks beyond startup village and the startup ecosystem too. So I think that the network that we have is really strong because it's not just limited to the academe, the industry, the startup ecosystem. So yeah, we scored high on that one.
So if you had a donor that is supporting you, and if it's a 3-year grant, I'm just making this up as an example. Do all 3 of you in the team interact with that donor, report to the donor, share your learnings regularly? How does that happen today?
Yes, sir. If we have a donor or a partner, we all interact as one with them. We do regular check-ins like mid activity and post activities. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that sounds great. Looks like that's why you've put this at 5. And do you believe that all of you have kind of similar equal relationships with the program officer in that donor?
I think so because Sir Carlo doesn't do meetings with partners or donors without without leaving us behind.
Great. Excellent. Great. Excellent. And so you said you're not familiar with the board of the incubator. You don't participate in it. So I'm not going to talk about that statement.
Yes,
But
sir.
does the board meet frequently? And as team members, you said you don't participate, but are you aware of how the board operates at the incubator?
At the moment, sir, we do not know the frequency of their board meetings.
Sure.
Yeah, they must have done it like multiple times already in the first quarter, but we don't know.
Sure. So two takeaways based on this conversation that I'm seeing for you. I could be wrong. It's just based on this very compressed conversation without looking at any data. One is actually leveraging your mentors, if you have them, as potential successors, backups, and even getting them as full-time team members. The CEO at Villgro who succeeded me started off at Villgro as a mentor, contributing 2 days a week to start off with, initially working as a mentor with one company, and then increasing the time allocation that he was giving to Villgro, and then becoming a full-time team member, leading one of our pillars of work, and then becoming the CEO over
I
a,
see.
over a 3-year horizon. So it is a strategy that has worked. I'm sure it could work for you. That's takeaway number one. Takeaway number two, I think, is improving institutional knowledge. And one way to do that is with a platform like Accubate, as opposed to just Google Drives, because that helps you capture data systematically across your incubation workflow.
Yes, sir.
But I'll pause there. Happy to take any quick questions to build on this if you have.
I think none at the moment, sir.
Excellent. So could you go back to that summary sheet? So we're not getting into each of these other dimensions, but it's very rare for an incubator to rate yourself very high on financial sustainability. So could you tell me what percentage of your total revenues are grants versus non-grants?
Sorry, sir. What was that again?
The financial sustainability tab, correct? In that financial sustainability, you've rated yourself fairly high, right? Maturity
Yes,
level
sir.
is strong. My question to you is, that's not usually those incubators who are dependent on grants have very limited non-grant incomes. If you're very non-grant income focused, it's unlikely that you're very financially sustainable because you're chasing donor after donor, year after year. But you've
I
rated
see.
yourself fairly high. My question to you is, what is the proportion of grants to non-grants in your income mix? In the last year's budget, if you were to think, what is the proportion of grants to non-grants?
I think the grants make up half of the revenue, and the non-grants are also half.
And is that data-based or is it your...
It's just my opinion, sir.
Okay.
Because of course we cannot backtrack
Yes.
everything right now.
Okay, so you're saying you're not too sure, but go back with this sheet, go back to the team and just reassess your financial sustainability, statements with data, with some evidence, and see whether it'll change. But I just wanted to pause there, given that we are short on time. But
Yes,
for
sir.
the benefit of others, this is exactly what we do. Go deep dive, diagnose, deep into each issue and then come up with solutions over a 6 to 8 session over 3 months, and then try to fix some of these issues affecting efficiency and effectiveness. Back to you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul, and thank you, Als. Can we give Als
Thank
just
you, Rod.
applause? Thanks so much for doing the spotlight. I know it was a quick turnaround for you to say yes, but I hope that has also provided you some insights, as well as others in the call, of how the growth guidance program is like. And just to give us a quick overview of the actual growth guidance program, what the process looks like, how you can join, I'll turn it over to Alejandro to take us through that. So Alice, if you can stop sharing, please, and then we can have Kavi, if you can help us share the slides for Alejandro.
So yeah, no, thank you, Paul and Liz, for the exercise. For sure, it was a wonderful way to introduce the growth guidance program. Can we have the presentation? So to begin, I want to introduce myself. My name is Alejandro. I have been working in the social ecosystem for around 8 years, and I've been working with Paul in the growth guidance program and with Pollinate for the past 7 months. I have the pleasure to work with Paul for the past 7 months. So I think like the exercise give you a overall sense of what is the growth guidance program. I think Paul did his magic and showed the magic of the program in these past 15 minutes, sharing the exercise with Liz. But to give them a little bit more of context, how the growth guidance was conceived. Sometimes we sometimes no, we as social accelerators, we offer safe space, we offer time to reflect, we gave tools to social entrepreneurs in our ecosystem, yeah? But sometimes we start wondering who create that space for the incubators themselves. With that question is how growth guidance was born, with Paul leading the growth guidance and with his expertise with overall 20 years accelerating social enterprises and social incubators. He created the growth guidance program to fill the gap. Yeah. Growth guidance create a structured place for leadership teams to diagnose what truly matters and co-create solutions with focus. As you just experienced, a short example of a session, growth guidance diagnoses, designs, and delivers tailored solutions. Overall, in the past 18 months, we have run 4 cohorts. We are right now running the 4th cohort. We have run 150 sessions to 23 incubators from around 18 countries around the global south. And it's important to mention this because the tool that you just use for this self-diagnostic analysis is the result of all that experience, all this previous exercise, all the previous coaching sessions. We are in each cohort, we try to improve and to offer something more to our members and to the participants. For example, in this 4th cohort, we launch or we open the possibility for members to select from 12 new experts, new guides, to run their coaching sessions with them. Okay, can we move to the next one? As Paul explained briefly, this is the structure of the coaching sessions. It's a 3-month period program where bi-weekly we have a 1-hour sessions as the one you just experienced, where we reflect, have a confident conversations towards different challenges and situations that we as social incubators are having and looking for solutions. The idea is that between each session, the guide is going to let you homework, so you can still like thinking and reflecting of the cadence of the program. The next slide, please. To better explain this, I think let me make this more concrete with one example. This is a climate and energy incubator based in Southeast Asia that came to us with a very common tension. A strong mission, but a financial model is still heavily dependent on grants and not yet translated into an operating plan. So in the first two sessions, what we tried to do was opening the space, looking different, like the alternative revenue models and what could realistically work in their context. And this is super important because what we try to do is understand your contacts, understand the region or the area where you are operating and your entrepreneurs are operating to start creating from there. Then we move into building in session 3 and 4. We define income strategy and key assumptions that we saw from the previous two sessions. We develop a cost strategy in session 4, underlying assumptions, and finally we stress test in the last two sessions. At the end, the chief was not just a financial model for this incubator. It was moving from uncertainty to clarity with a plan that team can actually start executing and reviewing periodically. So this is an example of what happens during these 3 months periods. You start with a challenge, you start with some I don't want to call it problem, but some situations. During the 6 sessions, you are going to have a one-to-one confidence space to start talking and reviewing the different aspects that can connect to this challenge. And at the end, the idea is you can live with something that you can execute, something that you can work on with your team to solve and improve this challenge. The next slide. So at the end, which is the price, or which is the cost, the investment that you have to do for being part of the growth guidance program? For members is the first slide, the first line, and for non-members, that I think we have only non-members in the participant of this Grown Lab.
That's right.
Is the second line. Right now, we are offering an extra discount to the participants of the Grown Labs. We are offering of this price of this investment, the 30% off, just for being in this space. And I just want to close. I want to invite you to participate not only in the program. I just want you to, or I want to invite you to have a clinic session with Paul Basil, the leader of the Growth Guidance program, who you met today, and share a 1-hour exploratory coaching session based on the self-diagnostic tool exercise that you just realize. This doesn't have a cost. This is something that we want to offer you. Rod is going to share with you the links for the information, for the application, so you can have a better understanding of it. But I strongly recommend you don't let pass this opportunity to have the clinic with Paul. For sure, you're going to get a fresh opinion about your situation, and of course, super valuable insights. that's it for me, Rod.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much, Alejandro. This is a really exciting program for everybody who's here. We've seen how much it's strengthened and has helped a lot of organizations within the membership. So hopefully, if this is something that resonates with you, especially after seeing the spotlight, and you'd like to try it out for yourself, as Alejandro mentioned, we are sharing the 1:1, the one-on-one clinic with Paul. It's in the chat. You can book, again, that's for free, so that you can also deeply experience what the GGP will be like. And then if you are ready, the application form is there as well. We'll be sending this through email. So you be sure to look out for the thank you emails so that you can also look at these links. If you want to learn more about the Growth Guidance Program, the first link is also on the website, just so that you can see testimonials, what the program is about, anything that Alejandro's explained about the overview will also be here. So thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Alejandro, for sharing. Hopefully you'll consider it. And as you can see, member rates are very much subsidized compared to non-member rates. So if you'd like to avail of the member rates, let us know. You can also learn more about becoming a member of the network. And it will drive the costs down of the growth guidance program, among other programs that we offer within the network. So please consider it. One last thing that I would like to leave everybody with before we go is just on reflecting based on the diagnostic and also based on the conversation Paul had with ALS. We don't have to answer this now because we don't have the time. Thank you so much for staying. I know we've gone over time. But just in terms of your own insights and also growth as individuals and as an organization, just to see what you've noticed in the growth guidance conversation we've had. Are there any questions that help surface insight for you or even for Alice during the conversation? And what you think was helpful for you in the way that Paul and Alice had their coaching conversation. So think about it, let us know. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll also put it in the thank you email. I'm sure Alejandro would be happy to answer any questions you have about the program. And if you'd like to ask questions on the one-on-one clinics, it'll all be there in the information of our thank you email. So thank you all so much. One last favor, sorry, while we're here, if you can please answer our feedback form to help us make sure we are doing well on our sessions and if there's anything that we can improve. So if you can take 2 to 3 minutes to answer, that'll be great. And while you do that, maybe I can hand it one last time to Paul if there's anything that you'd like to add to what Alejandro has mentioned or anything to close with just before we end today's session. Paul?
Nothing in specific, but we're fairly certain based on how others have gone through this, that this can be truly valuable, the growth guidance program. And we're happy to support and contribute and help you become stronger.
Great. Thank you. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Once you've filled out the feedback form, and it's all good, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And we hope that you do apply for the growth guidance program and the one-on-one clinics. So again, all the links are on the chat right now. We'll also send it through the thank you emails. And yeah, have a great rest of your day and week, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you, everybody.